The Magic of Halloween. A short, spooky story by Nilsen Bjørneraas, narrated by Ørjan Svingen. Episode 4. There and Back Again. Having just witnessed the host of men rush past them once again, the group stood silent.
How did they even fit in there? Must have been, 100 of them?
Natalie questioned. Lily adjusted Codsworth on her back with a shrug.
Honestly, after everything today, this barely cracks the top 5 weirdest things.
Our shop, it's destroyed.
Codsworth's voice trembled. He shifted their focus immediately. The interior of the bakery was barely recognizable.
It's not real,
William whispered. Once a warm and inviting space filled with the comforting smell of fresh bread and pastries had now become a grotesque version of itself. The counters were shattered and covered in a layer of dark, creeping vines. Shadowy tendrils slithered along the walls, wrapping around shelves that once held treats. The soft glow from the ovens had been replaced by an unsettling, flickering light. And in the center of it all, hovering just above the shattered counter, was George. His ghostly form flickered weakly, trapped within a web of dark energy that pulsed with a purple glow. Struggling against the tendrils that bound him, his face was twisted in fear.
George!
Codsworth cried, prompting the group to rush forward.
Wait!
William warned, holding them.
It's likely a trap.
Codsworth's voice crackled again, filled with urgency.
We need to free him.
The tendrils around George pulsed and tightened as if sensing the group's presence. Darkness had been alerted, and from nothing, shadows began gathering into an opening. From it, a figure began to take shape, tall, cloaked, and sinister. The witch emerged. Her long, crooked fingers draped in shadow, her face hidden beneath a tattered hood. Her eyes glowed faintly in a purple hue. A cruel smile stretched across her face as she spoke, her voice cutting through the air like a knife.
Foolish younglings,
the witch hissed.
You think you can undo what I've created? This town, your friends, they belong to me.
We're not leaving without them,
William said, his voice steady but filled with anger.
We've beaten you before, and we'll do it again,
Lily heroically said.
Such confidence,
the witch's voice echoed.
You will soon see that this time courage will be your downfall.
Lily carefully pointed the group's attention to the dark, twisted vines that wrapped around the shop's walls, each one pulsing with the same purple light.
Lily whispered, "If we can cut them off, maybe we can weaken her hold on him."
The witch noticed their lack of attention.
You think you can break my spell?
She sneered, her voice breaching the thick air. William gripped a broken piece of wood, his jaw clenched in determination. "We're not afraid of you!" The witch's eyes narrowed, and with a flick of her wrist, more tendrils shot from the walls, wrapping around the group, pulling at their arms and legs.
Let's see how long your courage lasts, little ones.
"Stay vigilant!" William shouted, struggling against the vines. He swung the wood at a tendril creeping towards Natalie, slicing it away. "We have to free George!" William managed to grab a sturdy rolling pin from the counter, swinging it like a knight with a sword at the tendrils that grasped him. "Let's roll, guys!" he called out with a grin, continuing to smash at the vines with surprising force, freeing the group. Natalie, ever practical, snatched up a heavy cast iron skillet from the stove. She hefted it in her hands, its weight satisfying as she whacked the nearest tendril with a solid thump. "This is ridiculous," she muttered, but there was a small, satisfied smirk on her face. Lily, always the optimist, spotted a long baguette from the display and picked it up without hesitation. Natalie shot her a look.
A baguette? Really?
Lily shrugged.
What?
She swung the baguette with great vigor, battering the vines as crumbs flew everywhere. Sam, a little more hesitant, rummaged through a basket and came up with a large metal strainer. He grimaced, but held it up defensively.
"Better than nothing,"
he mumbled, and began swatting away at a creeping tendril. Even Codsworth, from his perch on Lily's back, managed to chime in with encouragement.
Go for the dough! Soft spots! Soft spots!
As they hacked, swatted, and smacked away the vines with their mismatched weapons, the bakery echoed with the sounds of rolling pins clattering, baguettes slapping, and skillets thudding. The witch's furious growls filled the air, her shadowy tendrils recoiling from each ridiculous blow. "Keep hacking!" William shouted, battering through another vine with his rolling pin. With one final triumphant smack from Natalie's skillet, the last tendril let out a pitiful hiss before shriveling away. The purple glow around George flickered and faded, and he fell to the floor, free at last.
You really did it,"
George whispered, his ghostly form flickering weakly.
"With a baguette."
Lily smiled, holding up the now battle-worn loaf.
"You'd be surprised."
The witch's voice, now filled with rage, echoed through the bakery.
You think you've won? This is only the beginning. You will not escape my grasp this time.
The bakery trembled as the wicked witch channeled her dark magic. But the group, armed with their rolling pins and baguettes, stood steadfast. Lily, confident as she would ever be, smacked on a set of sunglasses, from where one could not tell. The group followed suit, before Lily literally sent them into the most epic battle.
"Send it."
Fine! I will end you myself.
The witch launched an attack. Floating above the chaos, her tattered cloak billowing with dark energy. She was furious, her eyes glowing with hatred as she flung more magic at them. sending bursts of energy crashing into the bakery. The group ducked, dodged, and countered, refusing to back down.
You think you can win with bread and kitchen tools? I am darkness incarnate!
She roared. Actually, William said, launching himself into the air like some superhero, we can, and we will! He landed with a dramatic slam, driving his rolling pin into the ground. A shockwave of light spread out. Shattering the remaining tendrils, he was just as shocked as the group, while holding up his rolling pin. Fear me, for I wield the light!
Sure you do,
Natalie uttered, tapping his shoulder. Lily leaped from counter to counter like a parkour master, dodging the witch's shadowy attacks as they whisked past her head. The air crackled with dark energy, tendrils of shadow reaching, trying to snatch her from mid-air. But Lily was faster. Each leap more agile than the last as she closed the distance between herself and the witch. The witch hissed in fury, her eyes glowing with a malevolent light.
You can't stop me, girl!
She screeched, flinging a wave of dark magic towards Lily. The energy roared through the air, warping the very space around them, bending the walls and shattering glass. The ground trembled as the bakery warped under the immense force of the witch's power.
Enough!
The witch bellowed, her voice reverberating through the crumbling bakery. She raised her hands, summoning all her remaining power. Ready to strike Lily down.
Watch out!
Sam shouted, his voice barely audible over the chaos. The group watched, hearts pounding, knowing that this was it, the final moment. The witch was about to unleash everything. The legion of tendrils lunged at her like an unstoppable force. The group cried out, "Lily!" just as the host of shadows was halted by a wall of Scottish men. Indeed, they had returned. The leader of them, with his long red hair, roared out in fury. "Go, little one! We will hold the line! Finish her, once and for all! For Hallowill!" The host of men at his side shouted eagerly, one more prominently than the others. They hacked and slashed, while Lily stood by idly. Recognizing the aid, she focused with deadly intent on the witch, who in turn shivered in fear. With a fierce grin and her trusty baguette, gripping it like a warrior with a sword, Lily rushed at the witch. In one smooth motion, she flipped through the air, her silhouette outlined by the crackling energy around her. Lily's eyes narrowed, her heart steady, and with a battle cry that echoed through the bakery, she swung the baguette with all her might. The air rippled with the force of her strike as she brought it down square into the witch's face, the impact reverberating like a thunderclap. The witch's eyes went wide in shock, her dark power faltering as the blow landed. She screamed, stumbling backwards, her magic unraveling as the tendrils of the darkness recoiled and dissipated into thin air. The once dominating figure of the witch crumbled, her cloak shredding into wisps of smoke. Lily landed gracefully on the ground, still holding her baguette, now dusted with crumbs. She adjusted her sunglasses and grinned at the defeated witch.
All bread and butter,
she declared, because, of course, she had to. The witch vanished in a puff of purple smoke, her dark magic completely undone. The bakery fell silent. The battle won. They looked around and were no longer in a nightmarish version of the town. Everything had returned to normal. The shelves were back in place, the counters gleamed, and the scent of freshly baked pastries filled the air once more. Even the host of men were gone.
Could you unstrap me?
Codsworth asked, from behind Lily.
Oh!
She cried in shock, while setting him free.
Codsworth! George!
The group yelled in unison, while moving in for a hug.
I really hope that was the last time I turned into an item,
Codsworth said, his voice filled with relief.
Oh, ghost,
George muttered, clearly out of energy, but not out of spirit. The group collapsed onto the floor, laughing and out of breath. They were battered and bruised, but victorious. Lily tore off a piece of her battered loaf and took a bite.
Dusty,
she said, through a mouthful of pastry.
But still good.
Natalie leaned against the counter, pulling off her sunglasses with a smirk.
Next time, we're calling an exorcist.
Sam, still holding his strainer, looked at it thoughtfully. I'm keeping this. They sat there, munching on pastries and sipping from cups of hot chocolate that somehow appeared in the aftermath of their battle. The warmth of the bakery was back, and for the first time, everything seemed right. That is, until the bell over the door jingled, and Mr. and Mrs. Renfrey walked in, looking as composed as ever. They stopped dead in their tracks, their eyes wide with disbelief as they took in the scene before them. What in the... Mr. Renfrey began, but words failed him. Mrs. Renfrey continued for him.
What happened?
The group exchanged looks, trying to keep straight faces.
We, redecorated?
William offered, barely containing a laugh. Lily raised her loaf in a mock toast.
It was a bake-off. We won.
Before the Renfreys could respond, the door jingled again, and in strolled Morgana, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Did I miss something? Just as the Renfreys stood there, blinking in confusion, the door creaked open once more, revealing a shimmering light, and from that light stepped the stranger, looking perfectly unharmed, with a knowing smirk on his face. I seem to have missed a great deal of transgression, he said casually. Natalie asked him, rather confused.
How did you escape?
The stranger simply winked. The witch and I had a little chat. His smile grew wider, a mischievous glint in his eye. And, let's say, Halloween has just begun. The group groaned in unison, and Morgana's grin spread like wildfire, her eyes twinkling with mischief. And so, yet another holiday had been saved, by a group of youngsters and their friends. But fear not, for there are more adventures to discover, with brave souls ready for tales to come, truly making it the magic of Halloween.
I am darkness incarnate.
I swear, mine is off tune. Let me